How do we know that it's him? How do we know that it's government officials? It could be just some kid who's like figured out how to use the internet. Right? Right? Just before we get started with today's video, I do want to introduce today's sponsor, Holzkern. If you love natural and unique products, then Holzkern is the perfect brand for you. They offer a vast range of watches and jewelry for both men and women, and even now have handbags and sunglasses. Look, I have this right here. This is my Holzkern watch. And what I love about this is how each product is unique. There's wood all along the strap there, and the bracelet, I should say. And, each piece is a unique piece of wood. So, unlike anything else. And then mine is a skeletonized watch, but you also get ones with mother of pearl or wood in the background. All natural stuff. Some are even made from stone. Look, the quality, the comfort is all top-notch, and the best part is that Holzkern give back to nature by supporting reforestation projects and environmental protection initiatives. And I think that's all something that we can like. Holzkern also believe in connecting with nature and being proud of individuality and spending time consciously. Plus, their products make perfect gifts for loved ones. And guess what? We're celebrating the 7th birthday of Holzkern this month, and you can get 15% off all Holzkern products by using the code BLAZE15. And that's not all, you'll also get a polishing cloth worth 15 euros as an extra. So don't miss out on this chance to own a unique piece of nature. Plus, there's free shipping to most EU countries in the USA. And don't forget about their 24-month warranty and 24-day rider return. So head to world.holzkern, HOLZKERN.com/EN_world/brainblaze. I don't know who came up with that, but look, there's a link below because that's a nightmare. And you can pick something up for yourself or your loved ones. Remember, the promo code is only available until the end of March, so don't wait too long. Grab your favorite Holzkern product, and now today's video. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a brand new episode of Brain Blaze. As always, I'm your host, Simon. I'm here. One on my right is Kevin, who's with me. Skip the lighter side of Kim Jong-un. Oh, God, the guy who, Gatling gunned his uncle to death. That guy. His chill ways. He loves his golf hole-in-one. Let's go.
It's so empowering.
Nobody likes a one-dimensional character. Characters like Superman and Voldemort that are infallibly good or evil tend to be really boring. Not only are they boring from a narrative perspective, but they tend to ring hollow compared to our real-life experiences. Wait, aren't Voldemort and Superman two of greatest... They're in... these are some of the greatest franchises ever, aren't they? There's loads of Superman movies. Voldemort, isn't Harry Potter one of the most successful books of all time? It's definitely one of the most. I don't know if it is the most. There are very few people in the world who are pure evil, and probably nobody that's pure good. Oh, come on, Kevin. Right here, man. To many people, Kim Jong-un is a brutal tyrant. Some have even called him the world's most bloodthirsty dictator. Well, yeah, Muammar Gaddafi's now out of the picture, right? So who knows? They're obviously speaking only about the current state of the world and not comparing him to people like Genghis Khan or Vlad the Impaler. Obviously. But it's still a pretty strong claim to make. Of course, there's more to the supreme leader than just some warmongering and oppression of the population. He is a multifaceted person with lots of hobbies and interests. And today... What the f*** is this video? Why are we making a video about Kim Jong-un's hobbies? What has this come to?
You know, Dave, sometimes I feel like a plastic bag.
We're going to look at his three-dimensional persona. Da balls. Kim spent much of his childhood growing up in Switzerland, as did all of his siblings. What, that North Korean education system's not good enough for you, is it, Kim? Well, the Swiss tutors could have come to you, Kim. No, because they don't want to get murdered. It was while living in Switzerland that he developed a love of basketball. Above all, Kim loved the Chicago Bulls and their star player, Michael Jordan. Fellow classmates told stories of how he'd spend hours making meticulous pencil drawings of Jordan and that he was actually quite good at it. What are you up to? So, you drawing Michael Jordan again? Yes, I am.
Stop it. Get some help.
Of course, his classmates also had no idea who he was at the time. In order for Kim to have a normal childhood, he was enrolled in school under the false identity of Pak Chol while living with his aunt and uncle. Nobody had any idea he was the grandson of North Korea's dictator. They thought he was just a nerdy kid who was awkward with girls and had a raging hard-on for Michael Jordan. That's kind of amazing. You'd be like, yeah, I had no idea, but I went to school with Kim Jong-un. And we called him Pak Chol.
Oh, good times.
Yeah.
When Kim left Switzerland, his love of basketball came with him. In 2013, he invited another former Chicago Bull, Dennis Rodman, to come and visit him in North Korea. Allegedly, Rodman was his favorite player, but it's possible that Jordan just turned him down. Rodman became... he wasn't drawing pictures of Rodman, was he? Rodman became the first American to actually meet Kim, and he said, "There's no chance." He went to school in Switzerland. I'm sure he'd never met an American in his entire time in Switzerland. Like, I don't know, I grew up in the UK. There's Americans also come to visit the UK. I definitely met Americans. You're just like, oh, you sound strange.
You know I don't speak Spanish. In English, please.
And he said that Kim was a friend for life. It's not surprising that the trip would have been a success. When you are the invited guest of a country's supreme leader, it's safe to assume that you're going to receive nothing but the best. The two became such good friends that Rodman made several more trips to North Korea he always continued to speak highly of Kim and what a great father he was. Rodman trained basketball players while there and attended basketball games with Kim, and everyone had a grand old time. But was Kim really Rodman's friend for life, or was he just using his position of power to coerce his favorite celebrity to come and meet him and do his bidding? I mean, really, what sort of friend did Rodman actually think he had made in Kim? Obviously, he would receive lavish treatment anytime he was in North Korea for no other reason than propaganda and public relations, but he surely couldn't have expected anything more than that. Why? Why can't these dudes be friends? I know it's weird, but it doesn't mean they can't actually be real friends. And Rodman's already rich. He's already, I'm sure, got a pretty epic life in wherever the fuck he lives in America. He doesn't need to go to North Korea to be pampered. He can have that shit at home. I don't know. I don't know why I'm not so skeptical of their nice little friendship. As it turns out, I underestimated just what a good friend Kim is. Kim is barely 2 months after the two first met. Rodman learned about Kenneth Bay, an American who had been sentenced to 15 years of hard labor in North Korea just a few months prior. Rodman tweeted at Kim to do him a solid and let Bay go free. It didn't happen overnight. In fact, it took over a year, but Bay was eventually released after only serving 2 years of his sentence. Awesome. I mean, not that he had 2 years of his sentence, but that Rodman was just like, yo, let him go. And Kim was like, okay, this is the sort of thing a mate would do. Why am I liking the Rodman-Kim Jong-un friendship? It's just nice.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
Considering North Korea isn't exactly known for their lenient stance on crimes, Bay credited Rodman with his early release. Yeah, as you should, Bay. He got you out. It's like, yeah, I think Rodman had something to do with it. Thank you. It's like, bro, of course I had something to do with it. I did it! But really, the credit belongs to Rodman's true friends and epic basketball fan, Kim.
Jordan!
World of Tanks. Basketball wouldn't be the only thing that Kim became fond of during his time in Switzerland. He was said to love Jackie Chan movies, and this was the early 1990s, so it would have been Chan's excellent assortment of Hong Kong films and also City Hunter. I can't say for sure if he remained a fan of Chan and his American films, but there's one other thing that Kim loved growing up in Switzerland that definitely has followed him to his adult life, and that's video games. Wait, how did we get there from Jackie Chan? I don't know, but here we are. Most of the citizens in North Korea don't have access to the World Wide Web. Instead, they use an intranet known as Kwanmyong, only giving people access to things within North Korea. The elites, of course, have regular internet, but there's little more than 1,000 IP addresses known to exist in North Korea, and it's believed there are only a few users of the actual internet. These include the wealthy elite, ambassadors, high-ranking government officials, and of course, Kim himself. And high-ranking ambassadors? Can you imagine, like, there's diplomatic missions and embassies in North Korea, right? Can you imagine going there for a posting for however long you go for, and they're like, oh, there's no internet? I mean, it doesn't count for, like, they'll just put a satellite up. They're the governments. They can do that. You can put a satellite up yourself. You think they can't have internet in their embassy? What are they going to do? Put a tent over your embassy? I mean, it is North Korea, so maybe. So few people have internet access in North Korea. I guess they never really learned anything about internet security. Certain organizations may... I don't know about that. Aren't they famous for, like, hacking shit? It sounds like they're quite good at it, to be honest. Like, wasn't there that when they made that movie? God, what was it called? It was quite good. And then they hacked Sony or whatever. It's Sony. You hacked Sony? That's quite good. Certain organizations may or may not have been able to monitor nearly all internet activity in North Korea to discover what they were up to. Some slightly less nefarious research involved using Steam's heat map, a feature that allowed people to see where people had been accessing Steam from in the past week. It was meant as a kind of cool but mostly pointless feature, but people immediately noticed that while North Korea was almost entirely dark, there was some activity in Pyongyang. With all of this research into the internet activity of North Korea, it obviously begs the question of what Kim's been up to. And the answer is surprisingly mundane.
Porn!
He checks Facebook, he streams music, he watches YouTube. Hello, benevolent Supreme Leader, and potentially spends up to 65% of his online time playing video games. They really know this? That's fucking crazy, bro. Based on Steam activity, it seems he and other government officials. How do we know that it's him? How do we know that it's government officials? It could be just some kid who's like figured out how to use the internet. Right? Right? We don't know for sure it's him. That would be intense. They're fans of the Left 4 Dead series of zombie shooting games. It's good series. However, there is one game that consumes more time than any other, World of Tanks. For anyone who has never heard of the game or of context clues, it's a video game about tanks. I played World of Tanks. They used to sponsor. It's quite a laugh, to be honest. More specifically, it's a freemium MMO with tank combat that is completely pay to win. Oh, yeah, I never paid for it. I was a bit shit at it. And Kim and his friends absolutely pay to win, even if it means the rest of the country doesn't get to eat that day. I know it's North Korea and it's fun to like shit on them, but we don't actually know it's Kim Jong-un playing World of Tanks, Kevin. Do we? People managed to identify Kim's accounts, and they're absolutely stacked with the... How, Kevin? I want to know how! Or is this just some crazy NSA shit that they've managed to do? Or is his username like Kim Jong-un, and it's actually an IP address in Pyongyang? But Kim doesn't pay to win, he cheats to win. Cheating is a major problem in online video games, so it's not like he's the only person doing it, but it's still a pretty shitty thing to do. If you have access to an entire country's GDP and still can't excel at a pay-to-win game, something is clearly wrong. Then again, maybe cheating is necessary to stay competitive. I remember way back when I tried to get trophies from as many different games as possible on my Neopets account. There was a lot of cheating going on. There was a very obvious line on the leaderboards between the legitimate scores and the people who hacked the games to win. Eventually, I decided that if I could get to the top of the legitimate scores, why shouldn't I cheat to get that trophy that I earned? And that, dear viewers, is what we call rationalization. But maybe Kim is doing the exact same thing. If all the other highest ranked players in the world of tanks are cheating, it's only fair for him to do it as well. If you remember, I did mention Kim's accounts in the game, not just account. It's normal for online games to have different servers for different regions, and World of Tanks is no different. Kim's main account is on the Chinese servers. Okay, where he has 10,000 battles on the gold-plated Type 59. I haven't played World of Tanks, so I have no idea what that means. I've played World of Tanks, and I also have no idea what it means, but it looks like the gold Type 2059 tank was available for the game, for $180 in real money. Fucking hell. So I'm really hoping it's the best tank in the game. That specific statistic is also 5 years old, so I'm sure his account is even more impressive now. But in addition to this main account, Kim also has an alt account on the North American servers, His alt isn't nearly as impressive and is just used for propaganda purposes to tell players things like 67% of the world opinion by polls considers the USA the biggest risk to world peace, not North Korea. So American dullards are being lied to by their own propaganda. You are worldwide despised as a culture. Is that really something that was... What the fuck is going on in today's episode? Shit.
That is fucked up. Yeah, tell me about it.
Granddaddy issues. Have you ever felt like you were living in somebody else's shadow? Maybe it was a parent or a sibling, someone whose footsteps you were expecting to follow in, regardless of whether you had a passion for it or not. Throughout your entire childhood and into your adult life, you may have felt like nothing you ever did was good enough. No matter how hard you tried, you were never going to be as strong, as popular, as intelligent, or as successful as that family member that everyone compared you to. If you have, maybe you felt like nobody else understood your problems. They would nod politely and listen to your complaints, but they could never really understand how you truly felt. But Kim Jong-un understands, as a third-generation supreme leader. It's a strange statement, isn't it? He knows all too well what it's like to be compared to somebody else. Another holdover of Kim's life in Switzerland was his love of Swiss cheese, a food that was blamed for his weight gain after taking power in 2012. However, there was a lot of speculating that this weight gain was an intentional attempt to look more like his rather overweight grandfather, Kim Il-sung. His grandfather was the first leader of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea from the moment it was founded in 1948 until he died in 1994. It's like, how shall I be a successful leader? I know what the secret to my grandfather's success was. His girth. And thus bring forth the cheese.
What the fuck is this?
He was a living legend and rather popular with the people, and no matter what Kim does, he will always be compared to that man. There are even rumors circulating that Kim had undergone plastic surgery to look more like his grandfather. Okay, these claims were entirely baseless and there's no evidence at all, and they were repeatedly denied by not only North Korea, but South Korea as well. That's the Korea you should listen to. But that didn't stop the persistent rumor from being repeated. After all, why would somebody look like their grandfather? Oh, I don't know, genetics? That's bullshit nerd talk. Obviously, the only explanation was plastic surgery and intentional binge eating to take on the appearance of his grandfather, the man he desperately wanted to be able to see him as. Though the story is almost certainly fake, it just goes to show how hard it is to live in someone else's shadow, even when you have absolute authority over an entire sovereign nation.
What am I to do when my father's dying wish was for me to carry his torch?
The entire premise of the rumor is that Kim will never be the leader that his grandfather was, and he knows it, so he had to get surgery to make people think that maybe he could just be like his granddaddy. Hell, Kim isn't even allowed to tell people how old he really is because of his grandfather. What? Kim was born on the 8th of January 1984, or possibly 1983, but his official date of birth is listed as 1982. The year 1982 was chosen because it was 70 years after his grandfather was born and 40 years after his father was born. Okay, who gives a shit? That means that he celebrated his 41st birthday, even though he might not actually even be 40 yet. But for the sake of appearances, it didn't matter when he was born. All that mattered was when his grandfather and father were born. This is bizarre. So the next time you feel like you're not good enough and nobody understands you, just remember, Kim Jong-un understands. He's got a big plate of Swiss cheese that you can comfort eat together. An eye for design. Given how accurate and detailed Kim's classmates say his drawings of Michael Jordan were, it's no surprise that he had a bit of an artistic touch. During 2021, he disappeared for a bit over the course of several months. Okay, he's off doing a drawing class. I remember this. People wondered where he was. They were like, is he dead? Like, what happened to him? This led to a lot of speculation regarding where he had gone or what happened to him. Many people assumed that his health had taken a turn. At this point, he was reported as weighing 22 stone or 308 pounds. He is reported as being 5'7", though people suspect he may actually be shorter based on photographs with other people. But even if he is 5'7", 308 pounds is an extremely unhealthy weight. Based on his weight, heavy smoking, and consumption of up to 10 bottles of wine a day. Holy shit. Doctors say that he was a heart attack waiting to happen. It's hardly a surprise for people to assume that his health may have been in jeopardy, but the truth was much more interesting. Kim was completely fine. He was just doing a bit of industrial design. Based on the dates that he had disappeared, combined with a bit of photographic evidence of Kim working in his notebook, it was determined that he was both inspecting designs and working on some of his own. The designs ranged from wine bottles to school uniforms to bus logos and even a couple of tourist centers. What the fuck? It's unclear exactly how many of the designs he did himself and how many he was simply there to judge and select, but reporting suggests that he at least drew some of the bus logos personally. So remember, Kim Jong-un isn't some cartoon supervillain. He's just a regular guy who likes drawing, basketball, and cheating at video games, and also happens to be suspected of possessing at least 40 nuclear weapons. Thanks for watching. That's where we end today's video, apparently. It feels rather sudden, but okay. Bye.
Jordan!